Did you know your brain is lying to you? Not sometimes, not on rare occasions, but every single day. In fact, it's lying to you right now. And the most incredible part? It's doing it to help you survive. Stick around, because we're about to uncover the 5 biggest illusions your brain creates every day, and what you see by the end of this video might just change how you see, well, everything. Let's start with a simple question. What color is a banana? Yellow, right? What if I told you that the color yellow doesn't actually exist out there in the world? It only exists inside your head. Objects themselves don't have color. They just have properties that reflect or absorb different wavelengths of light. Your eyes capture these wavelengths, send signals to your brain, and your brain interprets those signals and says, aha, that's yellow. It's an interpretation, a label. Your reality is a brain-generated translation of raw data. Think of it like this. Your eyes are the hardware, but your brain is the software running a very specific color OS. Someone else's brain might be running a slightly different operating system. This is why we have debates like the infamous blue or gold dress. We're all experiencing a personalized, colorized version of reality. Now let's move on to our second big illusion, memory. We tend to think of our memories as high-definition video recordings stored securely in our brain's vault. We pull one out, press play, and relive the moment exactly as it happened. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Every time you recall a memory, you aren't just playing it back, you're actively reconstructing it. It's more like rebuilding a Lego model from a blurry photograph. You might put a piece in the wrong spot, use a different color brick, or even add a new piece that wasn't there before. The emotions you're feeling now, the new information you've learned since the event, and even the suggestions of others can all subtly change the memory. This is why eyewitness testimonies can be so unreliable. Your memory isn't a faithful record of the past. It's a constantly evolving story you tell yourself about the past. So that argument you had with a friend last year, your version of it has probably been edited more times than a blockbuster movie. The third lie is a big one, the illusion of conscious control. You probably feel like you're the CEO of your own mind, sitting in a big corner office, making all the important decisions. You decide to pick up your coffee cup. You decide to click on this video. You decide what to think about next. But neuroscience tells a different story. Many of our decisions are actually made by our subconscious mind fractions of a second, before our conscious mind is even aware of them. Studies have shown that brain activity indicating a decision can be detected before the person is consciously aware of having made it. Your conscious self is more like the press secretary who comes in after the decision has been made and confidently announces it to the world as if it were their idea all along. Your brain does this to be efficient. It automates countless decisions so your conscious mind can focus on the bigger picture. You're not a puppet, but you're definitely not holding all the strings. All right, on to number 4, and this one is a master of deception. Confirmation bias. Your brain doesn't like to be wrong. In fact, it hates it. It's metabolically expensive and emotionally uncomfortable, so to protect itself, it builds an echo chamber. Confirmation bias is your brain's tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information that confirms or supports your pre-existing beliefs. It's like wearing glasses that only let you see evidence that proves you're right. If you believe a certain political party is incompetent, you'll notice every mistake they make and dismiss every success as a fluke. If you think a new diet is a miracle cure, you'll focus on the success stories and ignore the reports of it not working. Your brain isn't seeking the truth, it's seeking validation. It actively filters reality to make sure it matches what you already believe, creating a comfortable but often skewed perception of the world. It's the ultimate I told you so machine. And finally, our 5th illusion, which underpins all the others, the illusion of a complete picture. Take a look around you. The world seems solid, stable, and whole, right? Your visual field feels like a seamless panoramic movie. But that's a lie. Your brain is actually receiving patchy, blurry information from your eyes, full of blind spots and gaps. For example, you have a physiological blind spot in each eye where your optic nerve connects to your retina. You should be seeing 2 black holes in your vision right now, but you aren't. Why? Because your brain is a master artist at filling in the blanks. It takes the surrounding information, makes a sophisticated guess, and paints over the whole so seamlessly you never notice it's there. It's not just vision. Your brain constantly makes assumptions to create a coherent narrative out of incomplete sensory data. It's a storyteller, taking fragments of information and weaving them into a plausible reality. The world you experience isn't the world as it is, but a best guess simulation running in real time inside your skull. So your brain paints your world with colors that aren't there, edits your memories like a movie director makes decisions before you're aware of them, filters reality to prove itself right, and fills in massive gaps in your perception to create a seamless experience. Is this terrifying? A little. But it's also incredible. Your brain isn't trying to be malicious. It's a survival machine, honed by millions of years of evolution to operate as efficiently as possible. It creates these shortcuts and illusions so you can navigate a complex world without being overwhelmed by raw, unfiltered data. Understanding these lies doesn't mean you can't trust your own mind. It means you can be smarter about it. You can learn to question your assumptions, to consider that your memory might be flawed, and to actively seek out perspectives that challenge your own. By understanding the beautiful, complex ways your brain constructs your reality, you gain the power to see beyond the illusion. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mind. If this blew your mind as much as it does mine, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges your perception of reality. Let me know in the comments which of these illusions you found most surprising. Until next time, stay curious. Did you know your brain is constantly telling you little white lies? Welcome back to the grand finale of our series on how your brain is lying to you every day. If you missed parts 1 and 2, I highly recommend checking them out after this. Today, we're diving into the final set of fascinating deceptions our minds play on us. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the big reveal on how to reclaim control. Let's kick things off with a big one. The availability heuristic. This is your brain's tendency to overestimate the importance of information that is most easily recalled. Think about it. After seeing several news reports about a plane crash, you might start to feel that flying is far more dangerous than driving, even though statistically the opposite is true. Your brain isn't looking at the data, it's grabbing the most vivid, emotionally charged, and recent memory it can find. This mental shortcut saves energy, but it can lead to irrational fears and poor decisions. The news media and advertisers are masters at exploiting this. That's why you see the same commercials over and over. They want their product to be the first thing that pops goes into your head. Next up, let's talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a cognitive bias where people with low ability at a task overestimate their ability. It's the classic case of a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Someone who has just started learning about a complex topic, say stock market trading, might feel overly confident and start making risky investments. Conversely, experts in a field often underestimate their own competence because they're so acutely aware of how much more there is to learn. It's a paradox of confidence and competence. This effect reminds us to approach new skills with humility and to recognize that true expertise comes with a deep understanding of one's own limitations. Now, have you ever felt like you knew something was going to happen all along, right after it happened? That's hindsight bias, also known as the "I knew it all along" phenomenon. After your favorite sports team wins a championship, it's easy to look back and say, "Oh, I totally saw that coming. Their defense was unbeatable." But before the game, were you really that certain? Probably not. Hindsight bias can make us overly critical of past decisions, both our own and others. It makes outcomes seem predictable when they weren't, which can prevent us from learning from our experiences because we dismiss the true uncertainty we faced at the time. Let's move on to the anchoring effect. This is our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered, the anchor, when making decisions. Imagine you're shopping for a new jacket. The first one you see is priced at $500. Every other jacket you see after that, even one priced at $200, will seem like a bargain in comparison, regardless of its actual quality or value. That initial $500 price tag anchored your perception of what a jacket should cost. Negotiators use this all the time. The first person to state a number in a salary negotiation or a car purchase sets the anchor, influencing the entire rest of the conversation. Being aware of this can help you step back and evaluate an offer based on its objective merit, not just in relation to that first number thrown out. Another fascinating lie our brain tells us is through the placebo effect. This one is incredible. It's a phenomenon where a fake treatment can sometimes improve a patient's condition simply because the person has the expectation that it will be helpful. A doctor can give a patient a sugar pill, tell them it's a powerful new medication, and the patient's symptoms might actually improve. This isn't about being gullible. It demonstrates the profound connection between our minds and our bodies. Our beliefs and expectations can have a tangible, physical effect on our health. It shows that your mindset, your positivity, and your belief in recovery are powerful tools in their own right. And what about the halo effect? This is where our overall impression of a person influences how we feel and think about their character. If someone is physically attractive and friendly, we might also assume they are intelligent and competent, even with no evidence to support it. This is why celebrity endorsements are so effective. We like a particular actor, so when they endorse a product, our positive feelings for the celebrity spill over onto the product. This bias can cause us to misjudge people. We might hire the wrong person for a job because they were charming in the interview, or overlook the potential of someone who is a bit more reserved but highly skilled. Finally, let's wrap up with optimism bias. This is the belief that we ourselves are less likely to experience a negative event compared to others. It's why people text while driving thinking, an accident won't happen to me, or why some people don't save for retirement believing, I'll be fine. A little bit of optimism is healthy. It motivates us and keeps us moving forward. But when it crosses into unrealistic territory, it can lead to risky behaviors and a lack of preparation for life's inevitable challenges. It's the little voice in your head that says, don't worry, it'll all work out, even when you haven't put in the work to make it so. So, after 3 videos and a whole collection of cognitive biases, what's the takeaway? Is our brain our enemy? Absolutely not. Your brain is a remarkably efficient, powerful machine that has evolved to help you navigate a complex world using mental shortcuts. These lies are often just bugs in the system, byproducts of an operating system designed for quick survival decisions, not for navigating the nuances of modern life. The real power comes from awareness. Just by knowing about the confirmation bias, the availability heuristic, or the anchoring effect, you've already taken the first and most crucial step toward overcoming them. When you feel a strong emotional pull towards a decision, you can now pause and ask yourself, wait a minute, is this my logical brain talking, or is a cognitive bias at play? The key is to practice metacognition, thinking about your thinking. Question your own assumptions. Seek out opposing viewpoints, not to be argumentative, but to challenge your own confirmation bias. When you hear a statistic, ask where it came from. When you make a judgment about someone, ask what it's based on. Slow down your decision-making process, especially for important choices. Don't let the anchor of the first offer or the halo of a charming personality dictate your path. By doing this, you're not fighting your brain, you're upgrading it. You're becoming a more conscious, deliberate, and rational thinker. You're taking the steering wheel back from the automatic pilot and choosing your direction with intention and clarity. The world is full of people and systems trying to manipulate these biases for their own gain. Understanding them is your best defense and your greatest tool for empowerment. Thank you so much for joining me on this 3-part journey into the fascinating deceptions of our own minds. I hope it's been as eye-opening for you as it was for me to create. If you found this series valuable, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Which bias surprised you the most? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ever felt like your gut feeling was screaming one thing, but the facts were whispering another? That's your brain playing its old tricks again. Let's talk about the confirmation bias. This is a big one. It's our brain's tendency to cherry-pick information that confirms what we already believe. Think about it. When you're researching a topic you're passionate about, do you actively look for articles that challenge your viewpoint? Or do you find yourself clicking on headlines that seem to agree with you? It's like your brain is a biased personal assistant, only showing you the files that prove you're right. It feels good to be right, doesn't it? Our brain loves that feeling. So it creates a feedback loop, reinforcing our existing beliefs and making them stronger, even if they're based on shaky ground. This happens in politics, in our views on health, even in our relationships. We see the evidence we want to see and conveniently ignore the rest. It's a comfortable bubble, but it's also a trap that can prevent us from learning and growing. Next up is the halo effect. This is where our overall impression of a person, brand, or product in one area influences our feelings in another. For example, we often assume that someone who is physically attractive is also intelligent, kind, and successful. Marketers use this all the time. A celebrity you admire endorses a product and suddenly, that product seems more trustworthy and effective, right? Your brain has taken the positive feelings you have for the celebrity, the halo, and spread it over the product. This works in reverse too. It's called the horns effect. If you have one negative experience with someone, you might start to assume they have other negative traits, even without any evidence. You see a coworker make a single mistake, and your brain might label them as incompetent in general. The halo effect simplifies our world. It helps us make quick judgments. But it's a lazy shortcut that can lead to significant errors in judgment, causing us to overvalue some people and unfairly dismiss others. It's a powerful reminder that first impressions aren't just lasting. They can be misleadingly powerful. Now let's get into something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a fascinating cognitive bias where people with low ability at a task overestimate their ability. It's the classic case of a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. You've seen it happen. Someone reads one article online and suddenly they're an expert on a complex scientific topic. On the flip side, true experts often underestimate their own competence. Why? Because the more you know about a subject, the more you realize how much there is to know. You become aware of the nuances and complexities, which makes you more cautious and humble. The person who knows just a little bit doesn't have that awareness. Their limited knowledge feels like complete knowledge. So, the next time you feel absolutely certain about something you've just learned, take a pause. It might be the Dunning-Kruger effect whispering sweet, confident nothings in your ear. True wisdom often begins with admitting, I don't know. Let's dive into the anchoring bias. This happens when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered, the anchor, when making decisions. After that anchor is set, we interpret all new information in relation to it. This is a cornerstone of negotiation and sales. A car salesman starts with a ridiculously high price. That high number becomes the anchor. Every price he offers after that, even if it's still high, seems reasonable in comparison. Your brain gets fixated on that initial value. This isn't just about money. It happens in everyday judgments. If the first thing you hear about a new movie is a negative review, you're more likely to look for faults when you watch it. That first opinion anchored your expectations. To fight this, you need to be consciously aware when an anchor is being dropped. Question the initial information. Try to approach the situation from a different perspective before making your final judgment. Don't let the first number or first opinion dictate your entire decision-making process. Another tricky one is the availability heuristic. This is a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to mind when evaluating a specific topic, concept, or decision. If you can recall it easily, you assume it must be important or more common than it actually is. For instance, after seeing several news reports about shark attacks, you might start to feel that swimming in the ocean is extremely dangerous. You overestimate the probability of a shark attack because those dramatic images are so readily available in your memory. In reality, you're statistically more likely to be injured by a falling coconut. The media plays a huge role in this. Dramatic, sensational events get a lot of airtime, making them feel more frequent than mundane, but statistically more probable risks. So, when you feel a sense of fear or urgency about something, ask yourself, is this based on data, or is it based on a vivid story I recently heard? Your brain is taking a shortcut, and it might be leading you down the wrong path. Let's talk about the sunk cost fallacy. This is when we continue a behavior or endeavor as a result of previously invested resources, like time, money, or effort, whether or not the current costs outweigh the benefits. It's the, I've already come this far trap. You're watching a terrible movie, but you stay until the end because you've already invested an hour. You keep pouring money into a failing business project because you've already spent so much on it. The rational choice would be to cut your losses and move on, but our brains hate the idea of our past investments being a waste. We feel a need to justify our previous decisions by sticking with them, even when it's clearly not in our best interest. This fallacy can trap us in bad jobs, unhappy relationships, and unprofitable ventures. The key to overcoming it is to reevaluate the situation based on its current and future prospects, not its past. Ask yourself, if I weren't already invested in this, would I choose to get involved now? If the answer is no, it might be time to let go. Finally, let's explore optimism bias. This is the belief that we are less likely to experience a negative event compared to others. It is why many people think, it won't happen to me, when it comes to things like car accidents or health problems. This bias can be good. It can reduce anxiety and motivate us to pursue our goals. A little optimism keeps us moving forward. However, it can also lead to risky behavior and poor planning. A smoker might know the statistics about lung disease but believe they personally won't be affected. An entrepreneur might underestimate the challenges of starting a business because they're overly optimistic about their chances of success. This isn't about being pessimistic. It's about being realistic. It's called defensive pessimism, thinking about what could go wrong not to be negative, but to be prepared. By acknowledging potential risks, you can take steps to mitigate them. It's the balance between hoping for the best and planning for the worst that leads to the most successful outcomes. Our brain wants to protect us with a rosy outlook, but sometimes a dose of reality is the safest way forward.